Hello everybody. Today I have a Donkey Kong 3 on the bench. This one I just pulled out of the pile. It is a mess. Look at it. It's got duct tape residue here and all over these, and the back side of the board has some problems. We've got missing EPROMs for character EPROMs here and the sprite EPROMs here. And it looks like these two pots are broken, so they're going to need to be replaced for sure. But I just wanted to put a rainbow cable on it and fire it up and see what we actually get on the monitor. So let's do that. All right, let's pop this up. We're going to try widescreen this time. Let's see if we can actually maybe zoom in a little bit. See the monitor? There we go. All right, so these the two pots I thought were broken are. Let me see if I can stabilize the picture just a hair. And it looks like they're both broken. Interesting. All right, so if I short half of one of these. Excuse me, the V position pins together, I get something and a stable picture. So first thing I have to do, let me turn this back off, and we'll come back down to the board and zoom back out. Here we go. So these two pots need to be replaced. So that's the first thing we'll do. Okay, we're back. So I removed these two pots. They both have legs that were missing off of them. Let's see. And they came off in pieces. So we'll put those up here, and then I took these are replacements I use. They're 50K, and I pop them in. They're a little narrow, so they kind of hold a little bit when you turn them over and spread them into the holes. So now, let's see, solder those in. Bring down my soldering iron. And get one leg for each one in. Check if they're still in a good spot. They are. All right. These pots break all the time, so I always keep a bag of them on hand. They're not very expensive. If you can't find them, we have them on the website at Mike's Arcade if you need them. I think I call them pot 50K or something like that. All right. I'm going to put that back here. And then we're going to populate these two 2716s. There's a bunch of them. I've got a working Donkey Kong 3 that I'm borrowing the EPROMs out of, and we'll pop them in and see what we get. Everything should look nice now. All right, this board over here. Borrow this other chip I need out of here and set it to the side. All right. Okay. It was missing the RP2A03 also. So I'm going to pop this one in from the other board. All right, now we're fully populated. Let's see what we get when we turn on the screen here. it up just a little bit. There we go. All right, so we're getting something. It is running. I'm going to take the remove the EPROMs and reinstall them one at a time just to make sure that the EPROMs are okay. It actually looks like a RAM error. I'm not sure though. This board is real crusty. Oh, well. Alright, let me turn that off. Not only is it crusty, but some of these EPROMs, let's see. See if I can show you the EPROMs here. This section of the board. I'll just move the board up. I pulled these out and some of the legs are just missing. So looks like I'm going to have to reprogram these EPROMs or put some new ones in. Look at this, all these legs. Let's see. There you go. We got missing leg, missing leg, missing leg. So we don't have a good program on this board. So at least we know now we have sync. Wow, this is, yeah, more missing legs. What we can do, let's see. Hey, that's the only good one. So what I can do here, let's see, I think I have a Donkey Kong 3 high score save kit here. So this will just get me a program on there. Let me do this. Install this where the CPU goes. This board is in total rough shape. I mean, it's really, really bad. All right, I'm going to install this. Put the CPU in there. Let's see, is that in? Yeah, that's in pretty good. And I need a I'm going to program myself another image. I'm going to my burner. Oh, I probably can't even see it. No, you can't. Well, I'll just do it. All right, let me pause for a minute and I'll come back. Okay, we're back. I've got my Donkey Kong 3 image in the high score save kit. And let's see what we got. We'll come up here. Back to the monitor. And we'll see what we get on the screen now. Well, we get nothing. All right. Oh, where is my... Here we go. All right, time to get out my logic probe. And we know we have some kind of clock because we see video on the board, which is on pin 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, There it is. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 6. So let's see what happens here. Starts low and then goes high, so we know that's working. Alright. So we get nothing from this high score kit. That's no help at all, is it? Well, there's a ton of corrosion right around this area here and here. The battery holder looks nice, but it's interesting. All through here we have, let's see if I can zoom in there for you. All of these resistors and diodes have rust. This is corroded. Corrosion here. We've got the jumper. This jumper wire comes all the way over to this resistor. All of these traces are just filthy. So, and then we come down to this section of the board, which I don't think. There we go. Down here. All right, down here. All of these little vias are just all corroded. I mean, there's like an explosion of corrosion around each via. This cap probably isn't any good. This one, we've got some corroded legs, really corroded legs here. This is the worst section of the board, this part here. And unfortunately, that's where your RAM is and your video buffer. But the CPU seems to be running here. We've got, well, no, maybe not. We got nothing going on. There's a clock. All the rest of the pins are stuck high. High, high. So the CPU is not running. I mean, it's trying. It's got a clock, but that's it. So it might just be a dead CPU. Look at this. Dead, 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 dead. They're all pegged high. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. Let me try a different kit. I'm going to take this kit off. And this is my Donkey Kong Jr. kit. Let's pop that in and see if we actually get anything at all. Oh, we do. Interesting. All right. So here's what I'm getting now. So I'm going to power it off. Switch out the game EPROM. So it looks like we might have a bad or a dead CPU chip. So now I've changed a Donkey Kong 3 chip into this board. Oh, maybe I have a bad Donkey Kong 3 chip in there. Let me check it. Oh, yeah, it doesn't verify. So, okay, I'm going to erase this one that I already have. All right, erase. And then program. Okay. Let's try putting that new EPROM in. and rebooting. Still nothing. Let's just boot up Donkey Kong and see what it says. Give me some clues as to what I'm looking at, probably. Okay. There we go. All right. So it says the RAM are okay. It says the DMA test fails. All right. So since the CPU chip, let's see. Let's test the other CPU. I'm going to put it in the same board in my high score save kit. And it's completely dead. So I get nothing there. Interesting. So I think that CPU is dead. And if the CPU is dead, I may have a bad DMA controller too. So I'm going to borrow that one from the other board. Okay, we've got a good CPU. Okay, let's see what we got now. Okay, and my interrupt is bad, and DMA test is bad. Yeah, and you kind of expect that because we're running it is a Donkey Kong Junior image I ran on a Donkey Kong 3 board, so let's go back here. Let's see what we have. So that's interesting. So now I've got a good CPU. Let's see if we can borrow the EPROMs. Off of my good Donkey Kong 3 board. And we'll pop them in here. That will start that. Alright. Two more. Let's see what we got. Okay. So what we have now is it's actually trying to boot and run. So what I'm going to do is these EPROM, these sockets on here, pretty bad. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, this is all pretty bad shape here. So I'm going to replace these EPROM sockets because there's pieces of EPROM legs in these, so I'm going to replace them all. And that should at least give me a clue what I'm looking at there, because it is trying to run the program. And boy, are these nasty. While I'm at it, I might clean this area up of the board, but you can't really see it, but there's pins from the old CPU or old EPROMs that are missing, and they're actually still in the socket. You can't get them out without removing the sockets, so I'll just replace those sockets. We'll get some good connections in there, and we'll see what's going on. All right, let me do that and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Let's see. So I've got all of these sockets removed. And I was thinking the reason my high score save kit didn't boot the program images is because it's a different PAL image on a DK3 kit. So I just didn't have, I had the Donkey Kong Jr. PAL on there, so that's why that didn't happen. And I'm going to take this, put it in the sink, and clean this up, and I may pull a couple more chips just because they don't look all that good, but we'll see how they clean up. Maybe it's just a little surface rust, but if a leg looks like it's starting to come off or anything, look at this. We got some hot glue here. Kind of crazy, right? All right, so, oh no, that's just the goop from someone using duct tape to hold things on. Kind of interesting. You know, you use what you got, and you can't really blame anybody for what they've used, but you can see residue here. I really need to clean this board, so I've pulled all the socketed chips. They're sitting over to the side, and I'll use some, I like to use Fantastic or 409. I spray them down, and then I use a stiff bristle brush and kind of move all the grime around. And this rust, like I said, it may be surface rust. I may have some parts I need to replace there, but I won't know until I clean them off. And so I'll do that front and back. And after that, I use hot water and some Dawn and scrub it down again. And then I take it to an air compressor and blow all the air out. The nice thing is all these chips and all these sockets sit just a tad off the board. So when you hit them with air from the compressor, it'll blow out everything from underneath. So you have to do the same for the tops of the sockets and everything else. And then when that's clean, I'll put 4 new sockets in there, and then we'll populate it again. And so if I'm cleaning the board, I might as well do this half too. The back looks really nice, but the inside, not so good. Interesting thing about Donkey Kong Jr. is you will never find a Donkey Kong 3 video board. They have a sticker on them. These started life out as a Donkey Kong Jr., and they found they needed 2732s instead of 2716s here. So they, and here also, but Junior already did this, but on these, so what they did is they cut a trace up here, and they added this jumper. Normally this leg, which is leg, I think it's leg 20 on the EPROM. Let me make sure. Is it 20? Yeah, leg 20 goes to ground, and it's ground. All 4 of them are jumpered together internally on the board. And then it was jumpered right here to ground. So they cut that ground, and then they run it to a gate on pin 2 of 6J, and that allows them to swap banks here, so they can get more storage in that ROM. So I'll be right back.
No.
All right, we're back. So the boards are completely cleaned. At least we did, let's see, F, E, 3P, 3N, N. We got D and C. So this board we cleaned front and back. It's always fun to try to keep the labels when you do this, but you just make sure you scrub everywhere and try to leave the labels alone. And when you spray your air, you use your compressed air below them, and you try to, just not disturb the labels. And it came out pretty good. It's nice and clean here. Then we also did the CPU board. You can see, came out nice. Some areas I used SOS up here. There's a little wet still. I used an SOS in the top corner to remove the, try to get rid of all of the residue from that duct tape. And the SOS pad just kind of removes the solder mask too, so you have to be real careful with it. It took off the solder mask here. And then I have a little stiff wire brush or a copper brush, and it worked pretty good on most of these little traces and stuff. You can see I'm going to have to pull the solder out of here and then put it back in because it's still corroded. And other than that, it looks pretty darn good, both sides. Cleaned up really well. And so we'll put this back on and repopulate it. Well, I can't. I got to put the let's see. Where that came from. I need to put some new sockets on here, so let me find some sockets and we'll install them. Looks like I've got 4 left. There we go. Yeah, those are the right size. Good. I'm going to set this to the side. Looks like we have one hole. It still has a little solder in it. There we go. If I replace anything, I never use machine pin sockets. I see a lot of people use them. They're good for one thing, and that's if you tear up traces and you need to solder from the top, you can use a row of solder pins, and you can kind of get underneath and make sure that you reconnect the traces that you ripped up. I don't like to use them at all if I can help it. Once in a while I'll use them on, say, a custom Namco chip that lost a leg, and I'll put the whole thing in a wire wrap socket, or excuse me, a machine pin socket, and use it. But it's not my favorite thing to do. I'd rather, if there's any way, just use standard sockets. I love these dual wipe sockets. They're pretty nice. They grab the chip. They make the most contact with the chip on a leg of any type of socket. Alright, I think I got all 4 of those on. Yeah. All right. Nice. I get to just go down and solder each leg. These are kind of interesting. They have a little round hole. There's not very much of a pad on these Nintendo boards. Which is kind of a blessing in some ways, and I don't know, it's just the style. You have to get used to it. I should be using my and a light here so I can see a little better. This should go pretty fast. I also really like the sockets that are on the Donkey Kong boards themselves, but they only grip on the outside of the chip leg. But I do like them. I don't know why. They're hard. You know, they're hard plastic. I don't know the manufacturer. I think it's Fujitsu or somebody like that, some Japanese company, I'm sure. Because Nintendo only used stuff from Japanese companies. You find out especially in all the cocktail tables, you know, the table machines. All of the bolt heads and everything else are all metric in their JIS standard. Oh, that's weird. So I'll get to go through after I solder this and clean the board again. Just get all the flux off it. We can inspect the job a little better. Probably can't see any of what I'm doing. I've got this big magnifying glass in the way. I love the light ring on this magnifying glass. It just kind of makes everything easier for me to see. Alright, I think we got everything. Let's take a good look. Excuse me. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, B, C, D, and E. This is 6H, 8L, DMA controller, CPU, and RP 2A03, two of them. Whoops, there's upside down. Okay, this is 5E, 1C, and 1D. Now, you know, you'll see this a lot. 1D, they give you a real funky, cruddy chip socket. I don't know why. Maybe they couldn't get these or something, but they were not good sockets at all. I don't like those sockets at all. Alright. Let's see what we got. Okay. Bring this down. Turn that off. Make sure okay, that's back on. All right, we're gonna pause for a minute. All right, we're back. Camera was running low. All right, so we've got all this together. Got it all populated. It's been cleaned, repaired, new sockets, and let's see what we've got up here. Zoom in on this monitor. Come on, Mike. There we go. All right, let's see what we got now. All right, we've got game. Interesting. So, let's see, let's coin her up. Wow, so we have a working Donkey Kong 3. So what all did we need here? We needed, let's see, I'm going to center that on the screen. We had an unpopulated board as far as the back goes, so new 6 EPROMs here. We had no video. We had no video sync, so we replaced these 2 pots. Well, let me come on down here. There we go. Nice. All right, so we replaced these 2 pots because we had no sync. We were missing these EPROMs, the 62732s. We replaced those. What else? On the CPU side, we had a bad DMA controller, and we had a bad CPU. Nothing was running. These chips were all fine. We were missing an RP2A03. By the way, you can use the ones that we saw on the website with the H suffix. The ones without the suffix will work in there also. But you don't need them in Punch-Out, and you don't need them in Donkey Kong 3. You have to have them if you're going to run VS Unisystem boards. So what I generally do is I'll pull these 2 A03s out. They don't have a suffix. And let me see if I can show you exactly what I'm talking about here. All right, these 2 A03s. They just say 2 A03. If it has an H on the end, you can use them in this board, Donkey Kong 3. You can use them in also in the Punch-Out boards. but these will not work, or these will work in VS Unisystem boards, but the H version does not. So I usually collect these out of boards that I'm working on that I buy and then set them aside so I can use them in VS Unisystems later. You don't have to do that. In fact, they'll work just fine the way they are. So we replaced the sockets for the program ROMs. The program ROM chips were physically bad, so we removed those, borrowed the ones from my other set, and we have a working Donkey Kong 3. So that's pretty cool. And that's it for today. Donkey Kong 3. Let's put that back up on the screen and boot it up. Very cool. One more time. There we go. There it is. What a fun game. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next repair video. I've got a bunch of live streams that I did on Facebook that I'm going to put up too. They were when we were building the sheriff controllers. I have some lathe work and some work on the press, pressing in studs, and I think we also did a little tutorial on how to plate bare metal, and that's up there too. It's not. It might be. I plan on putting all those up here in the next month or so. I finally figured out how to pull them down off of Facebook, so I could save copies of them, and then we'll upload them to YouTube too. Okay, thanks again, and have a great day. Bye now.